'Cause yeah, sometimes we'll feel alone. In a second, I'll be right there. Turn around, let it rain. Turn around and let it rain on me. Don't you be afraid. Just follow me. You don't need no space. Just follow me. Like a mirror, you reflect me. Like a Friday night on the weekend, I feel blessed and free. I just don't want this moment to end. But now you say you gotta go. Baby, why you gotta go? Like a mirror, you reflect me. I just don't want this. I just don't want this moment to end. Jump into that car tonight. I'm not leaving without a fight. Now you're always on my mind. Turn around, hold me tight. Turn around and we will be alright. Don't you be afraid. Just follow me. You don't need no space. Just follow me. Like a mirror, you reflect me. Like a Friday night on the weekend, I feel blessed and free. I just don't want this moment to end. But now you say you gotta go. Baby, why you gotta go? Like a mirror, you reflect me. I just don't want this. I just don't want this moment to end. I just don't want this. I just don't want this moment to end. If you ever feel alone, 'cause yeah, sometimes we'll feel alone. In a second, I'll be right there. Turn around, let it rain. Turn around and let it rain on me.
Hey there, Hellhounds, it's Hades. Good evening, hello, Arcane. Oh, hey, Weston. Hey, Master Leo, how's it going? I'm so glad that all of y'all could join me. I'm so excited to be doing this live stream. It's been a couple of months coming. And so before we get into the topic, which is going to be my experience at this year's Colorado Leather Fest, just wanted to say hello, welcome. If you don't know who I am, my name is Hades. I am a puppy in Denver, Colorado, and I do live streaming. We talk about sex, kink, BDSM, mental health, identity, a lot of different things on this live stream. It's a personal vlog for me. And I'm so glad that you could all join me. So wherever you're watching from, oh my God, hey Shy, how's it going? Yes. I'm so glad that y'all could join me. I'm just over the moon excited. So please do say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. I love to see where everybody watches from. We have an international audience, and I think that's amazing. And so who are you? Who the fuck are you, actually? That's the question. Who are you? Get out of here. Get out of here. Go to bed. Don't you have a dog to walk or something? Love you. All right. So this live stream is we're gonna be talking about, oh my goodness. Hold on. Why am I getting a call? Anyways, sorry. So sorry. Hello from Longmont. Hey, there he is himself, Mr. Leather, Colorado. Hello, Jeff. Thanks for watching. So we're going to be talking about Colorado Leather Fest. And this is let me preface all of this with this has been my experience. And just because that call kind of caught me off guard, how's my audio? Is everything sounding good? Hopefully it is. If there's any sort of weird echo or anything like that, please let me know. I don't want to make y'all suffer. But this video is coming from my personal experience, things that I've witnessed during the event, during preparations, during the actual contest, going around through the convention, seeing what I've seen, and giving my own personal thoughts. So this is not the thoughts of any of the producers or the event organizers. This is just my own personal opinion. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You can subscribe to somebody else. So I hope you have your cocktail, your smoke, whatever non-alcoholic beverage you prefer. Orange juice. I love orange juice. I'll probably be switching to that in a little bit. Sound is great. Thank you so much. Perfect. And this is also a live Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the live stream as I'm going through, just drop them in the comments. I'll see them. We'll pull them up and we'll have a good conversation. So, and I'm also really excited because throughout this event, I was able to meet so many amazing Kinksters that I've chatted with, and they are coming to the stream. Like, hold on. Where's my sound effects panel? Where's my sound effects panel? Yeah, we're gonna have like brand new kinky live streams, and I'm so excited about that. But let's get into the competition, shall we? Okay, so I have my notes. For this live stream, I actually made notes, which I hardly ever do, but I had to because I was like, there's a lot to cover here. So let's first talk about my preparation. So I decided to run for Mr. Leather Colorado at Back Alley, Denver last August is when I decided to run. So that's how much time that I've had essentially to prepare. And the way that came about was my friend Hunter, who I think is watching, it was like, oh, I'm going to be competing in this event. And I was like, what is this event? Do tell me more. And as he was explaining it, I was like, oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. I would love to do that. August, September, October, November. Yes. So this happened in August. I was like, oh, you're going to run? I'm going to run against you because I think I could beat you. And it was like this kind of really fun, friendly competition. I'm a competitive person. He's a very competitive person. And I just thought it would be really fun to go out and do without knowing all that much about the contest or its history or its importance within leather society, right? It was just something that I was going to do. So come November, I fly out to Utah to be on the handling team for Charlie Dahl, who is the current person of leather for Rocky Mountain Rebellion. And I got to witness firsthand account that was my first leather convention ever, going to any sort of leather convention. And it was mainly, I'm going to call it a more pansexual event. If you go to MAL, which I went to for the first time back in January. So I got to see the difference between an MAL event where it's very cis gay focused, and a pansexual event where RMR and Colorado Leather Fest, where it's all inclusive. So I was on the handling team as a service puppy. I basically did whatever was needed and emotional support and all that good stuff. And watching Charlie compete was inspiring. And I was like, oh, there's a lot more to this than getting up on stage, wearing a bunch of different outfits, and being critiqued and judged for it, right? Not the same experience as going to MAL, where it was very much the contest portion of MAL, from what you got to see, was very much look-centric, and it was look-centric. That's just the way that it was. Shawi, hey, how's it going? He's such an amazing human. Oh, of course I'm watching. Hunters, everyone say hi to Hunter, because Hunter, you're running next year, right? Running next year, and I will be back. But before I get into any of that, so I had all this time to prepare, and I didn't really know what to prepare for. I didn't ask Hunter to be my handler until much later. I want to say that it was a month or two before the actual event. And the reason why that was is like I went to, so in November I went to RMR, and and Charlie's handling team was on top of it. They had this entire book with bios of the judges and the speech and the things and everything laid out, right? And I was like, oh my God, like I am not that prepared. And then come January, when I go to MIL, it was very much, people were blasé, like just going up and doing their thing. It was very much improvised. And so I didn't know if this is my first time competing in any sort of competition, right? I didn't know if it was going to be more improv like centric, or I needed to have my shit in a notebook like Charlie centric. And so I didn't know what I needed. And that was my first, I think personally, my first mistake was not asking questions to know what I needed in order to be successful in this competition. Because I, like any newcomer that has no background in this, is not going to know. They're not going to know what they're going to need. They will not even know that they need a handler, right? I didn't think I needed one. And then I was like, oh shit, I fucking need a handler. And so my preparations, my actual start, like when I started writing the speech and thinking about things and getting a handler, was maybe a month and a half to maybe 2 months out from the actual competition. So a very late start, I think now. I think that if I were to do this over again, right after Back Alley ends in August, that's when I would start my preparations. So everything is last minute. But I started to write my speech first. And at first, I wanted to go the route, like maybe a little bit more fun and about me. Like I realized that my first speech that I wrote was in about me, which came later, like in the bios. And then my second speech that I wrote that I actually said on stage was more of like, what is my actual platform? And so, but I needed to rebound that off of somebody. And so I luckily had Hunter to rebound that off of, Charlie to rebound that off of, and Chris Newell to bounce ideas off of. And so we did the speech preparation. We also did mock interviews where it's like, hey, what are the most common questions that you may or may not be asked throughout this competition? And Hunter and Chris grilled the fuck out of my ass. I was going to go into this competition improvising a lot of things. I'm so glad that I didn't. The mock interview was rough. I think, honestly, in my experience, my mock interview was 10 times harder than the actual interview. It made me cry. I'm just trying to do the best that I can. Like, it was so fun. But I'm so happy that I got grilled that way. Because it made me realize that I needed to have these really concise answers, that I didn't need to, like, as you will see in this live stream, I have a tendency to go off on tangents. And you cannot do that during contests. Like, you cannot do that during the competition at all. You have to give very clear, concise answers. And I feel like there were 2 questions within my interview that I did not give clear, concise answers. And I thought that I was trying my best to do so, and I couldn't get around to it, and it made me shut down. But we'll go into more of the actual contest in a little bit. There's a couple of good books I can recommend about competing. Hunter and Hades, you reach out. And I have a book. I have the by Guy Baldwin, the leather contest book. I have that one because 2 people recommended it to me after I posted that I was going to do the contest. So I read one book, or I skimmed through it because I don't really read books. I have ADHD, so we just skim through and look for pictures. But where was I? Oh yeah, so did mock interviews, and then the one thing that really like freaked me out was not having enough leather. So I tried to think about like different outfits that I wanted to use. And so this is like a reel of like different outfits that I threw together very last minute. And I sent over to Hunter. I was like, this is the look that I did for my meet and greet. Except I had blue Levi's because Hunter was insistent that a classic leather look would include blue Levi's and not black pants. And so we did that. These are some other looks that I just did not use. I was trying to throw things together. I don't own a lot of leather, y'all. I think to maybe more common people, it seems like I own a lot of leather, but I think to a lot of leather people, I own very little. I thought this was a cute look, by the way. I thought it was. I didn't use it, but my interview look is coming up. That's what I use for it. I wish I had pictures from the event, but I really don't. And my butt looked really good in those jeans. My butt looked fantastic. Thank you so much for helping me go shop for jeans because I don't know what I was doing. So right about here, this is my interview look. I was really happy with that. I really would like in the future, I'm going to get a white leather shirt. This is just your run of the mill Walmart white dress shirt. And yeah, those were my looks, or the looks that I put together, but I put them together very last minute. Very, very, very last minute. Everything with me is last minute. Like next year, going to be so much more prepared. And then the other preparations that I did was I tried my hardest to research the judges. Like as soon as we found out who the judges were. Oh my God, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Like that means a lot. That means a lot coming from you. It means a lot. So good. I tried my best to research the judges, but I realized very quickly that I didn't have enough information to find people through social media. And so I was finding either the wrong person or just like I couldn't. And I just had to wait for the bios. And the bios came out kind of last minute. And I, again, being ADHD, do not like sitting down and reading. And so I was skimming through the bios, I will say that. And I was really leaning into like the meet and greet to try to learn as much as I possibly can about my judges. But preferably, I would learn as much about them as possible because I want to be able to connect to people. And I didn't feel like I had enough time to do adequate research to come prepared for that meet and greet. And then the last part of that was creating my introduction, and preparing for the silent auction, which I also found out about very last minute. I realize now that I just glazed over something in the email, and there was an email that was sent that said that mentioned the silent auction, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together that like we were supposed to bring things for the silent auction. So last minute, I'm running around town trying to gather things, and bio was a little bit of a struggle for me because I realized that I was creating a resume of things that I've done in the community rather than expressing who I am as an individual. And so in my bio, I was really trying to just like get across my personality versus like, here's all the things that I've done in the community since I've been, because I can go on a list. I've been active within the community. I've been active in the queer community since I was 16 years old. And I've been active in the leather community for the last 5 years. And so I didn't know if I wanted to present a resume or if I wanted to give them an insight into my personality. But I went the personality direction. So that was my preparation. I'm going to score my preparation a 4 out of 10. I didn't know. And what the one thing that I would love to do, and I want to encourage people to do, is I wish that there was some sort of resource that says, hey, if you were going to compete in this, these are things that you should consider as far as preparations goes. Support teams are essential. Support teams are so essential. And I wrote it off so much in the beginning that it bit me in the ass in the end. And I will not make that mistake again. But let's get into the day before the contest, the actual meet and greet. So the day before the contest is the meet and greet. It happens in the evening when all the judges get together and all the contestants get together and they converse. This was the beginning of the convention, which probably started around, I want to say 5 o'clock. So again, excuse my neurodivergency or my neurospiciness as I adopted this weekend. My conception of time is very skewed. So if I get this timeline wrong, you can't hold it against me. But I want to say that it was like around 5 o'clock or so that we actually got into the event. Like we had a meeting at 7. Okay. I remember this because I couldn't get registered. The systems were down. There was some sort of technical issue, so I couldn't get registered, but they were able to allow me back to get in time for the meeting. And then after we were able to get registered, then everybody kind of hung out in this lobby portion around the conference rooms for the meet and greet. There was like a little bar that was set up, and I was telling myself, do not drink, do not drink, do not drink, because like I nervous drink. And so I was like, I am not going to get sloshed and do this. And like, could you imagine? I can't even. Nope. Was not going to happen. So, I am an extrovert when you get to know me. Until that point, the family room. Yes, the family room. I'm an extrovert when you get to know me. But if I don't know you, I'm very much introverted and I have to look for my in with you. And so conversations are very awkward. And this is where I think preparations matter the most. The way that I was told to prepare for the judges was like just to know as much about them, because they are going to ask you maybe during their interview something about them. No. I think learning about your judges beforehand is important. That way, when the meet and greet comes, you can actually hold a conversation. And honey, I fucking struggled. I did the best that I possibly could. But I struggled because I just didn't know enough about my judges. So if you're thinking about running, know something about your judges, anything about your judges, because come that meet and greet time, you are going to want to be able to hold a conversation. And I especially think for the master slave competitors, when because their dynamic is being watched, like the meet and greet portion is not judged officially by the judges, but people are making preconceived notions about you, about the way that you talk to other people, the way that you present yourself, how you walk around the room, all that good stuff. And so it's just good practice to know something, so that way you can carry a conversation. And so then I decided, I was like, I'm not going to stay for the play party. I peeked my head in, and we'll get into play parties and like some of the other things outside of the competition in a little bit. I decided that I was going to go home. I was going to go to the Eagle, decided not to. I wanted to go to bed to get my beauty sleep. That did not happen because I had so many sleeping issues. And so I just finally roll around the next day. I get up early. I head to the hotel because the first portion of the contest was the Pecs and Personality, aka the jockstrap round, and that started at 11 a.m. That's a really early time to be prancing around in a jockstrap, especially when you're used to being naked. I'm just kidding, not kidding. But anyways, yeah, that was probably the easiest part for me was the Pecs and Personality because I got to be nearly naked. I got to show off my favorite leather outfit that I own, which is this white harness. I think I have a picture. Hold on. I think I have a picture of this. It's a white harness with, here is, no. Is this it? Hold on. I want to make sure that this is it. It's a white harness with my emblem and then a white jock and then white cuffs. And then here's another picture of it. This one's with I always butcher this, Amun-Ra cap. I was wearing a Garrison cap. So I think it's a super cute look. It shows off a little bit of my personality because it's got the Cerberus emblem in there. And I wear Cerberus everything because, hello, my name is Hades. And it was a really cute look. I was very, very confident in that look. And then at the end, they said, do a little spin. And I did my gay little spin with my little kick. And it was cute. So I felt very confident in that. And then the dreaded interview portion happened like hours later. So Pecs and Personality happened at 11, 3 o'clock hits. So I had from 11 to 3 o'clock to be sweating bullets. Like my ass was so fucking sweaty. I was like, this is where they're going to get me. They're going to get me. Like, this is where they're going to find out that it gave me so much imposter syndrome. I was like, they're going to find something out about me that they don't like. Anyways, it was fine. It ended up, like I said, my mock interview, I feel, was harder, but I went last. I was contestant number 4. And as the contestants were coming backstage from their interviews, and they were all feeling just, shooken. I was like, fuck, man, this is going to suck balls. I was so worried. But I got up there and I did the best I can. And I know for a fact, 2 of the questions that I was asked, I did not answer completely. Like I mentioned this a little bit earlier. And really, one of the questions had to do with what would I specifically do in the community to create change, or like what are some of the problems in the community, and here are some solutions, which I think are amazing questions. And if I had time to do this, like if I were on a live stream, we could have a conversation about them, identify them, and come up with some possible solutions. But we don't have an hour and a half to answer the question, right? They want an answer right then and there. And it's just something, I really do feel that what I do on this stream, I'm a facilitator, right? When you look at the things that we talk about on this show, I'm never telling people this is how it is, this is how it should be, this, that, and the other. Yes, I know, Leo, that was your question. And I don't feel like I did the answer justice. But I'm a facilitator of conversations. I go out and I seek the voices that are most educated on subject matters. And I bring them to an audience that has no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And I open the door to curious minds. That's what I do. And then the other question was, what would I do? Like, how would I translate? Maybe like, how would I translate what I do online? how would I translate what I do online locally? And I feel like I didn't come up with a good answer for that either, because I put myself in positions where I feel like I can do the most service. And where I do the most service is I'm a marketer by trade, and I help people with marketing. Hey, your marketing sucks or you don't know how to do marketing? Here, let me do it for you. That's what I do. That's how I am of service to my community. And a lot of people may not see the value in that. And so I'm thinking, how do you want me to answer? Do you want me to say that I can translate these conversations into actual classes that can happen like in the community? I don't know. Like my brain got frazzled at that point and I panicked and I just couldn't answer. And that would be another like point two advice for anybody thinking about running is breathe. Breathe. Breathe and don't get frazzled. I was very fortunate to have Lonell grab me at many different points in the competition, and he would hug me and he would start to slowly breathe. And like without even having to say anything, like I would slowly breathe and it would help recenter me. And I was like, okay, back in the game. So, but for the most part, I really enjoyed my interview. I really had a good time with it. And afterwards I was like, oh, that was fine. You know? What did I text you at least 3 times? Breathe. Yes, breathe. You did text me to breathe. Then, so after the interview, there was another long break, and then we got into our intro. My intro, I think, fizzled out a little bit. Like I think I started strong, and then it kind of fizzled out the end. And then it got to the pop question. And here's where I really bombed. Here's really, where I personally feel I bombed the hardest was during my pop question. My pop question was, what's your favorite date and why? Or, you know, that question from Miss Congeniality. And I knew, I just was so, I was so giggled by it. I get up on stage, I read the question, I approach the mic, and I already know that I want to turn this into almost a little comedy bit because it's a play on this question. It's very well known. And so I'm like, you know, I'm not going to go down that route. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. And then my personal life hits me. And I don't mean to be a sad sob story here, but in that moment, when I was trying to pivot from the joke into answering the question, I realized that I haven't been on a date in over a year and a half. Like I've been single for a year and a half, a little bit over a year. And I haven't been dating. I've never been on an actual date in my adult life. And in my mind, in that moment, the first words that like crossed my mind is like, you look so stupid right now. And it shook me. And I didn't know how to respond. And so I just said, sex and orgies, bye, and left the stage. Because I was having, like, in that moment, like, it's so weird how the most random things can, like, catch you off guard. Like, that was not something that I thought would, like, throw me off the boat, right? Like, I didn't think my personal dating life would even come into the equation. And as somebody who suffers with feeling lonely so often, it was just a reminder that I'm alone. And it just threw me off. Whoa, I didn't expect to get emotional there. Sorry. Whoo! but it threw me off. And I could have been more on top of it, but I wasn't. So anyways, so finally, so then pop question goes. I knew that I bombed it. I left the stage. I was like, fuck, I could have done better. And I just like, all right, I've got one more chance to really show myself. And that's the speech. The last and final round is a speech, which I was fortunate to like during that portion while dinner's going on, the intro, the pop question, and the speech. All the contestants are around. And so you got to see what other people did and how they performed and whatever. And so I was really fortunate to get to hear Jeff's speech, which was very like, it was encouraging. It was motivating because he was talking about his trials, and how, getting like, he didn't know if like he could be kinky and leather sober, and how he was able to find that. And I just think that was so inspirational. My speech was more so focused on, I'm really just kind of tired of hearing people talk about like throwing buzzwords like visibility and inclusivity and all that shit out there, that in practice, it takes a lot more. And I'm not going to read my speech right now. But I mean, I felt confident, that I did okay, that I did okay enough on my speech. And after I got off stage, Hunter came and found me, and I just gave him a hug, and I just wanted to cry because it was finally over. And and I was just so exhausted, and I was so tired, and I was just like, I wanted to cry my eyes up. But I was like, no, can't ruin my makeup. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. I really did love your speech, and I think, it was great. So, thank you. So then there's a speech. I will say a few things in retrospect about the competition portion. And I want to thank Chris, our chaperone. I don't know what you call those people that kind of like skirt us around. I want to thank Chris so much for making sure that we were there where we needed to be on time. Adorable and just a really nice person. And so thank you so much for all that. And also thank you to all the other contestants. I think we had a really encouraging group of contestants. Like nobody said shit about anybody. It wasn't like everyone was encouraging and motivating of other people. And I really enjoyed that because it really did make me feel like no matter which way this goes, I'm happy with any combination of results. And I think most of us felt the same way, that no matter who won, they would do the title justice and we would support them. So I really do appreciate that. But let me tell you, the timing of some of this shit could have been so much better. And I know that it's been a few years since there's been a contest, but, and I've been in event planning for a long time. I helped organize Colorado Springs Pride Fest for 5 years. I've done other much larger events. And so I understand that sometimes things don't go according to plan. There's hiccups you just don't see. And so even though I'm saying things could have been a little bit more timely, specifically what I would say is for the contest only duration, where there's being tickets sold for the contest only, that needs to be a little bit tighter because there's people paying for the contest only portion, right? So that's my one critique of the competition, is that timeliness could be improved. And I would also say just getting information out sooner than later. Like it would be great if the applications were available maybe towards January, February. I don't remember when the applications come out, but that's what I'm going to say. And then, like, I don't know. I want to, like, here's the thing. I want to run next year. I'm running next year. But I want to help out so much. I want to, like, there's so many different things that I want to help out with that I'm like, So if I don't win this next year, I know exactly what I'm going to do and where I'm going to insert myself. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Where was I? All right. Let's get into the convention. Let's get into the convention. All right, it's party time. So, the convention itself, I only have been to, this is now my third leather convention that I've been to. Not a lot of experience, so take this with a grain of salt. But I do have two very polar opposite experiences to compare this to. And that is RMR, Rocky Mountain Rebellion, which is this event that happens in Salt Lake City. And I'm going to label it a pansexual event, right? And there's a real big importance on why I'm making these dissertations, right? It's more about inclusivity. Their title is Person of Leather. It's not Mr. or Ms. whatever down the line. It's Person of Leather. And they do the utmost to be as inclusive as possible. Then you have an event that's MAL, which is very gay centric and very cis gay centric. And it is about the sexual liberation and expression of gay men with a contest thrown in there. They also have, these different events and classes that go on. But I mean, let's get real. MAL is about sex and fucking, and the contest. So I'm going to be pulling my experience from that. And then also, because I was in the contest this year, I really didn't get to sample a lot of the classes. In fact, the only panel that I had the opportunity to sit in on was the BIPOC panel, which I am so fucking glad that happened. And it was far more successful than maybe the one that happened at RMR. And it was just it was great to have that space. But, so I really can't speak to the classes. There were so many. I've got the run book right here. That's got the schedule. It looks like there was a lot going on. And that there were some amazing presenters, like both Saturday and Sunday, they had some things going on. And so there's not too much that I can say about the classes other than there's a few that I would have liked to take. And from the list of presenters that I saw, they had some pretty good presenters. And I think it's important to, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. Life with ADHD, I'm telling you. Anyways, so classes we're going to mark as okay. And we'll see maybe in a couple years when I actually get to sample them. But let me back up a little bit. I want to talk about the staff of the event because there was a hiccup at the beginning of the event when it came to registration. Early registration was working, and then when it came time to register, the systems were down, and all hell broke loose. Vendors were trying to get in. I was trying to get in, and the staff rocked it. Nobody knew what was going on, but they took accountability. And they rose up to the occasion and handled things as people were coming up. You could tell that there was a little bit of confusion that was going on, but the staff like didn't let it fluster them. And I think that's amazing because a lot of people are under a lot of pressure with these events. And sometimes if leadership isn't present, like things tend to fall apart. But the staff were absolutely amazing, and they were friendly and, accommodating as best as they could be. And I think that was pretty awesome. So that's keep up the good work with the staff. Then there was a silent auction portion, which I mentioned earlier that I wasn't quite aware that I needed to bring stuff for, and it was good. I wish that there was more diversity in the things that were brought, but I mean, I don't know who's really in charge of contributing other than contestants. I know contestants could contribute, but I don't know if vendors also contribute. I'm assuming that they do. But it was a kind of a small silent auction, and it was fine. And then we have the vendors themselves. This is where I think there could be more improvement. Like there was one leather vendor there, and if you go to even a smaller event like RMR had more leather vendors, and for a leather convention, I would think that there would be more. Now I know that Marty was a judge and owns UFO Fetish, and so because he was judging, he didn't want to have a vendor space there, and so that's one of our biggest local leather vendors, and so totally understand why that booth was missing, but there could be a lot more. And I don't know, I experienced this because I worked in event planning for a small town up in the mountains. I know how difficult it is to entice vendors to the event, but it can be done. And I would like to see more leather vendors at the Colorado Leather Festival. The one that was there, they had some nice stuff. Like they had suspenders and like these wrist restraints and ankle restraints. But I was really just hoping to see more leather. That's just what I think. And then there was the play parties. They had play parties that happened in the evening. They had a giant play space, and here's what I'm going to say about the play party. When I went to RMR, there was a giant play space just like Colorado Leather Fest. But they also had opened up some of the classrooms for like a gay play space. And then they had like a lesbian play space. And those play spaces are important because not everybody feels comfortable in a pansexual environment. And, it could have been easily done. Now, what I will say about RMR is, even though they offered those spaces, nobody showed up. Like I went to the gay men's space both nights at RMR, and I was the only one sitting in a sling, waiting for some dick to come get me. But we didn't have enough. We didn't have enough qualified DM volunteers for multiple dungeons, and that's totally fair. Yeah. There was also the manpower. Ugh. Anytime that I use a gender term, just shoot me. Just hit the mad button. Just shoot me. You don't have the people power to run multiple DMs. I would love to know what it takes to be qualified as a DM volunteer. Like let's chat about that, because maybe we can find some other people in the community that would be willing to do that if they're qualified. But yeah, so that I feel like, and I mean, and mostly this comes from the voices of gay men, is gay men want that space. And I heard from several gay men that they wanted that space, and that the reason that they did not opt in for a ticket was that they didn't want to be in a pansexual play space. Like, that's why. So it's a loss in revenue as well. So if there's a way to figure that portion out, then, you know, because gay men, like, unfortunately, the Otter J party was happening on Saturday as well, but people turn out for that event. And even if it was just a play party at the event, like, that's a revenue stream and a missed opportunity. So more than happy, let's talk about it. I would love to and see what we can work out. I've got ideas. Like I said, like, if I wasn't competing next year, I would be all up in this business trying to figure out like what we can work out together. And then there was the hook pull, which I did not stay and watch because I knew what it was about. And I've seen suspension once and that was enough. And so I don't know how that went, but I heard really good things about it. Like, I didn't firsthand account that, but I heard really good things about it. I just don't, it's not that I can't do blood. It's that I can't watch other people get pierced. I can watch them get suspended, but I can't watch them get pierced. Then let's talk about dinner and brunch real quick. The food at the hotel was good. Compared to a lot of other conventions that I've been to, like even non-kink conventions, the food was good. Like, it was worth it. Like, I thought it was. Maybe I'm just a trash panda and I'll eat whatever, but I thought the food was good. But here's my gripe about dinner, right? And we've had a conversation about this, so I have no qualms saying this. The keynote speaker was Daddy Rod, and Daddy Rod gave this amazing speech. And for those who were there, you know exactly probably where I'm going with this. But there was a portion of his speech where he talks about social media and how social media creates egos, fact, and does not create community. Disagree. I believe that there is many different ways to create community. And one of them is being online. There's so many of us neurodivergent people that don't feel comfortable coming out to bars or events or even like your local grocery store. You know, we avoid things like the plague. And so online is where we find home. And I wouldn't be here having this conversation if it weren't for the community that I built online. And that community helped me get through COVID, helped, like, we all banded together, like, we became family. And to say that community cannot be created online, I just think is flat out wrong. And Daddy Rod and I had a conversation about this after he gave his speech, and it was really great to see where he was coming from with it, because there is a lot of toxicity that is created and generated online, and there's a lot of ego that goes online, and there's a lot of people that like it's just for looks or for likes, you know, and that does happen. But community also happens. Love happens, you know, online. And so that's my 2 cents on dinner. And then last, it comes down to the cost. Was it worth it? Now, as a contestant, I didn't pay for anything. So I will say it was worth it. But one of the other things that was when it comes to cost that people were saying is that this costs as much as IML. And that's something to be looked at. Like, what is your experience at IML versus your experience at Colorado Leatherfest? Are those experiences equilateral? Well, if you're a cis gay person, probably not. Like, but because when you think of like what I have not been to IML, but what I've been told occurs at IML, you are not going to have that same experience at Colorado Leatherfest, right? Is like what else could you compare it to on that level? I don't know. I think it depends on how you identify, and I think it depends on what you're wanting your experience to be. If you're looking for an MIL or IML type event and the cost is as much as those events, is it worth it? I don't know. If you're not going for the classes, I would say if you're not going for the classes and you're just going for the sexual experience, it may not be worth it to you. And so you have to pick and choose. Like, are you just going to go for the contest? Are you going to go for like the play parties, whatever? Maybe there needs to be some hybrid pricing depending on like who wants to go for what. And I think they try to do that with like the add-ons for dinner, the hook pull, and like just the contest only. But, you know, like to each their own. Everyone's going to have a different opinion about was it worth it. What I would say is I do think that the contest only pricing needs to be more affordable just because of what entertainment they're actually receiving for that. Like, I think it was I want to say that it was $30 for the contest only portion. I would say $20 is more fair. And then put it into the contestants, to try to generate tickets for the contest only portion, because I could probably have gotten like at least 5 or 6 more friends to come if it was $20 versus $30. That's an easier pitch. Put it on the contestants to try to raise seats, because how many, and maybe this is a conversation that we could have, shall we, is how many ticket only purchases were made, right? Figure out how that, like, do the math. We'll figure that out. And then put it on the contestants, like try lowering the price and then putting it on the contestants to try to raise ticket sales for the contest only piece. Because I would wager that the contestants want to see their friends there more. Like, I would have been willing to pay to have more of my friends there, but like at $30 a pop, that's a little bit of a stretch. So that's my critique on price, and my critique overall. So I just went over point blank. My final critique of the event is like I honestly didn't even know there was a contest only ticket option. Like, this kind of goes into my final critique is marketing. Marketing. There was not enough marketing done. After the event, I went to trade and I approached a group of leathermen that I didn't see at the event. And I was like, hey, where the fuck were you? And they're like, we honestly had no idea that this event was happening. There is no reason why a poster couldn't be hung up at every bar. At least trade the Eagle and Denver Suite. A poster saying, like, a month before the event saying Colorado Leatherfest. The bars, if we can't afford print, create a graphic that goes on TVs. All of those bars have TVs where they have rotating events, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to say, yeah, we'll throw your event on the TV. Social media is free. Not a lot of us know how to use social media to the utmost advantage, or we're not all social media experts. I understand that. And sometimes it's a little bit intimidating, but social media is going to be your best avenue for marketing. That is free, you know? Marketing could be improved for both the event producer and the contest producer. 100%. I agree with that. And I'm more than happy to I'm personally more than happy to sit there and be an advisor, because again, I'm competing, and so I don't know where the gray area is. Like, if I'm competing next year, how much can I be an active participant in? I would say I'm more than willing to give advice up until the new year, and then I have to back off. And I mean, I'm fine with creating a content strategy or marketing strategy at no charge, and trying to get it out, because it is a great event. It's a fun event. I had a fucking blast. Like, I was gonna say I didn't have sex during the event, but it was still a good time. But the last day I did something. Oh, she's a slut. Oh. But no, seriously, I am more than happy to sit down and come up with some sort of marketing strategy that is as low cost as possible, that includes guerrilla marketing as well as social media marketing, up until the beginning of the year, where I need to really switch gears and be detached so that I can focus on competition. So, with that being said, we're just about, perfect timing, just about at the top of the hour. If there's any questions that the audience has, there's quite a few of you here. I'm actually surprised that y'all lasted through this, like, just my rambling. But like, any questions that you have about like the contest or the convention or just life in general, we'll open it up for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to shut it down. And then what my plan is I was doing live streams every 2 weeks back in the day, and that just became too much, and I got burnt out, especially when COVID hit. Now that I'm re-engaged with some people and we're talking about some really exciting topics, it's going to be a once a month formal live stream. It'll probably happen on Sundays again, Sundays at 6 Mountain Standard Time, where we'll have our panel conversations and touch on different areas of kink and BDSM. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions. Ask me. Hold on. Where's my little ticker? Ask me a question. My eyes melted. But no questions. I'm okay with that. Totally cool. Oh, Shy, if you're still here, what was my favorite interview question? I want to say, my favorite interview question. Hold on, let me put that up for people to read. My favorite interview question was, what does, like, I think that I will have enough leather to run an IML next year? And what I said was, I'm moving into a position where I think that I can afford more leather. But at the end of the day, if I only had the leather that I have with me today, then that's going to be enough, because my leather isn't within me. My leather is my personality. My leather is what I give back to the community. My leather is how I serve the community. I didn't see all the extra parts, but I'm thinking about it now. so often and I want to get into this. I should have correlated this back to the question that I had troubles answering, which was what are some of the problems that you see in the leather community and how do we find solutions for it? Is this a lot of leather people will say that you don't need leather to be a leather person. But one of the problems is that we don't demonstrate that enough, because when we go to leather events, we're leathered out, right? You at a leather event, you want to show off your leather. But how do we show people that don't own leather, that are curious about leather, that they can be leather without leather? How do we visually include them in that? And I think the solution is to have a leather event where it's maybe it's like an underwear party. Like, just show up in your underwear and we learn about the history of leather. Everyone's got underwear, right? Maybe not everyone. Not everyone has underwear, but or something like that. Show up in your jeans, and or maybe it's like a try leather night. Where people don't wear they don't wear their leather, but they bring something leather for other people to try. I don't know, just some thoughts. But thank you for this session. Oh, Jeff, thank you. Absolutely, it was a pleasure to compete with you, sir, and I'm looking forward to working with you this year. We're gonna kick some ass. We're gonna do some things, and I'm really looking forward to next year. So, all right, folks. Well, Shy, if you're on, I was gonna say, let's chat. I'm gonna send you a message. I've got some ideas. Also, Jeff, I'm gonna be sending. I think what I'm gonna be doing is sending a group message, because I would love to get all of the contestants from this year together for a live stream, and let's just this was just my experience, but let's talk about the experience, what you plan on doing afterwards, and how other people can join in the community and get as involved as we are now. That's the conversation that I would love to put together. So I will be hitting you all up, and until next time, folks, I want to Aru, but I told, real quick side note, I said in my last live stream that I'm taking a sabbatical from being a puppy. And that's true. I'm taking a sabbatical. Just my heart's not in the pup community as much as it used to be. And I really do want to focus on my leather. So I'm not going to Aru at the end of the stream. Instead, I'm going to say good night. And until next time, I love you all.